Welcome back to Actual Proper Podcast. Myself, Reece, and my wonderful co-host, Twila. Twila, what do you got for us today?
Hey, let's talk about your roll up the rim. Finally, that you've won.
Okay, that's I feel like a good from like here on out. We could just like make that like a firm
Exactly, a firm segment on this.
Exactly. So big news actually. I was like 0 for like 13 last time, or 0 for 12.
12, yeah.
And then I got a free coffee
On the 13th one.
Exactly. And then like I got when I rolled up that rim, I got another free coffee off of it, and then like all those past like failures that roll up the rim, all those please try agains like are gone. Now it's just like I'm riding this wave of like endless free coffees, and it feels really good.
Okay, I feel like you're getting ahead of yourself here because it's only been 2 wins.
I know.
Out of like 15.
But it still feels so good. It's like I'm never gonna pay for coffee again.
But so are you hoping to still win that Jeep?
Yeah, the Jeep is still definitely on the top of my list, followed by a $5,000 gift card. That's always very handy. And yeah, I'm this psyched for like free coffees. So I mean, winning like a big prize, I would probably not even be able to comprehend it. I have no idea how I'd react.
It just like blow your mind.
I might be like so chill about it. Like if I like roll it up and just like Jeep, I'll like, oh cool, like, and then like
Finally.
keep on going. Then like 10 minutes later, like actually react.
Yeah, I feel like because it's so shocking. So maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, just like overload me.
Yeah, exactly.
And just a few days ago, we like our whole station. We went out to a concert here in town at the Tide Mark as always, and it's 5 Alarm Funk. Now it's like I've not been to a lot of funk shows, but it's not really, I don't think, classic funk at all, because it's like really like heavy.
I can't say anything mostly because one, I've never listened to funk, so that was actually the first time I'd heard funk, and like second, I guess it was sort of just like it felt more like I guess like dance music, but like not EDM necessarily, but more like the traditional like, hey, this is just like a really groovy riff, dance to it.
For sure.
Is what it felt like.
For sure. Is like a lot of concerts and like music, I feel like when you listen to, it's not necessarily ones where you dance a ton, but like with those kind of like riffs and those kind of, it makes you groove so hard.
Yeah, it was really good.
I think funk might like, I think that's something to look into for sure. Any of you listeners out there, give funk a chance.
Or at least 5 Alarm Funk.
Yeah,
they were
5 Alarm
really good.
Definitely like one of my best shows I've ever seen. Like I've seen them twice now in like concert, and
they had a lot of character.
Yeah.
Like the individual just like musicians had a lot of character for sure, but also the group as a whole just had a whole lot of character, and it was really entertaining to watch, not just because of the music, but also because of just how they were on stage. Like that stage presence was really fun to watch, and it was really cool.
I mean, that's what they say, kind of like, like when you're a singer or whatever, like singing is only like half of it. Like the other half is just literally performing.
Yeah,
and, like,
yeah.
I mean, because that's like what matters. Like, honestly, it's just like having a good time rather than
charm people.
Yeah, exactly. Rather than just like how technically proficient it is.
I guess so, yeah. But I have to admit, though, like the next morning, or rather just like right after the show, it's just like my ears were so muffled and I couldn't even hear my thoughts because it was just like, am I deaf now? Is this just me now?
That says a lot to how old we are. Like,
yeah, I know.
We came out of that show like, oh my goodness, I can't hear anything.
Yeah, no, it was awful because the next morning as well, like I had to work and I was just like, I can't hear anything. It's just great, But it was a really good night. Have you ever were there any other shows though that like you've been to that, like are as memorable?
That's a good one. Probably this might take the first slot is seeing Walk Off the Earth.
Oh, I'm jealous.
Yeah, at the Vancouver Island Music Fest. They were the headliners.
Yeah.
I've never seen more people in one place in my entire life before. It was insane. There was, I don't know how many thousands of people, but it was crazy. It was probably like the whole city of Campbell River if it was like a measurement. If we all got them in one place, that was it. Like it was just literally a sea of people.
But how was it? Like just the experience?
Oh, it was incredible. Like they were huge performers, and like all the stuff they had going on in stage, like it was very coordinated. Everything was going really awesome. We even got a solo from like the beard guy
before he passed.
Yeah,
I was just gonna ask, when was this? Like, was he still around?
Yeah. It was probably like about. That was in the summer, probably July, and then he passed like in January, I think, beginning, like the 1st or something. Mm-hmm. So it was like 6 months before he passed, and like I really like feel good that I like saw that. Like,
I'm so jealous.
Peak walk off the earth, and like
yeah, no. I'll say that like one of the most memorable shows that I like have gone to was Mariana's Trench. Like when they were first starting out, it was a really good show, but also like a really bad experience for me, mostly because like I don't do very well with crowds. And I was 15 when they first came out, and so I was young and I was with a bunch of friends, and they had a lot of fun, and it was a good kind of like, again, it was a good show.
Oh yeah, for sure. But like 15's like peak Mariana's Trench, like for an age. Like, well, I'm serious. That's like their demographic. It like at
that time, yeah. But also because at that time, I think they were in their early 20s, like 2021, I think. And I guess it was also really cool because we knew where they came from. Like, I had friends who went to the same high school that they did. And then I'd also visited that like school and had sort of like exchanges there and stuff. So like it was really neat, and it was just like a nice piece of like history that I sort of like grew up with. So it was really cool to see them live, and just like, again, when they were first starting out, but like just, I guess, the crowd atmosphere, and it was an all ages show. So like there were parents and kids, and so it's just like, well, kids as in like 15-year-old like teenagers.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it was so, I can't explain how like horrible that was, like to be surrounded by other like pretentious like kids, I guess.
No,
but
it's
also
okay.
but also just like being under the watchful eyes of like parents, and it's just like, can I just like enjoy the music, can I just enjoy the act? But it was a good show, like music wise, I guess. But looking back on it now, like obviously that was definitely like your classic angsty teenage like pop music, or I don't know, punk rock. But like,
it certainly has its place for sure.
Yeah. No, but it was
all
it
genres
was good.
have a place
in one's lifetime.
Exactly. But like you were talking about how like they are from Vancouver, so you kind of felt like a little connected to them.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool because like the band Mother is from here on Quadra Island, which is like right.
I thought you were gonna say Five Alarm Funk is from Vancouver because like they are from Vancouver, and I was like, cool.
But Mother is from Quadra Island, which is like literally like almost like a neighborhood of Campbell River. I'm sorry, Quadra Island, but like
it is though,
it
because
pretty much is.
They're under the same school district, also the same electoral district, and like within the SRD.
Yeah, and like they're closer to Campbell River than like Willow Point is to Campbell River. But anyways, like they're just a small island that's right like
off the coast of like Campbell River.
Yeah, and there's like not a whole lot of people there, so it's like all the people from Quadra Island decided to make a band, and that's Mother, and they did so well. So I mean, congrats.
Yeah, no, but they are doing really well. Their music, like, I can't say that it's my kind of music that it's my go-to. It's not, but they have good music.
Yeah, totally. They're played so much on like alt stations, and
exactly.
All of those like Sonic in Edmonton plays them a lot.
Oh, that's cool.
They're huge.
Wow, for a tiny island,
Yeah, they made it big.
BC. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, no, I have so many friends who are so into Mother, and just like always going to shows and just like traveling whenever they're on tour and stuff like that. I'm just like, whoa, that's dedication.
Yeah, that's so cool. Like going on tour, like people like going on tour. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
He was like, oh, that is actually a thing that like can happen in someone's lifetime.
Yeah. I wonder, is that going to happen for us? Like,
Ooh.
Are we ever going to be that famous?
I mean, I'm like appreciative enough that I'm just like in one spot all the time.
Yeah, no.
Rather than going on tour.
But like, do you get recognized outside of the station too, though? Like by your voice?
Definitely not my voice. Because it's actually funny, like every single other guy that works at our station, everyone just assumes is me anyway. I don't know what that is because we all sound so different, but they're always like, oh yeah, like you're that guy who is like who does middays. Or like, yeah, I listened to you yesterday, and it was like a completely different person.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh,
I think it's because you're the only guy in this station too, though, and it's like it's easy to be like, oh, you're that guy who did that at Today FM or something, but like you're not.
Mm-hmm. And like when people do recognize me, it's usually because I would have previously talked to them or something like that. Like I've met them like at an event or something like that. Like some people from my building know like who I am, and they like kind of ask me about it, like how's work? Yeah, no, it's like one person, but it's like pretty chill. No, like for the most part, like no one ever recognizes me. Like you get recognized all the time, though.
No, not all the time. Not all the time, but like I guess enough times that people are like, oh, you're that girl on the radio who does the news and stuff, which is it's kind of cool, but also like I guess because, and I was just gonna bring this up, why I guess no one recognizes you is because you have a different like broadcasting voice, whereas my voice is exactly the same when I talk in person, but also when I read the news or like when I like do my like weekend things. Yeah, is like I talk exactly the same at the exact same pitch, you know, and like there's no moderation whatsoever to my voice. Yeah, and I feel like that's how people recognize me too. But I remember one time, and this is like
also you're also like one of the only like Asian people in town, so I guess
that's true. And like my last name is also like very Asian, I guess, and so like yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But also like this is why I guess I've also gotten like weird sort of like comments about myself or like compliments. I don't know what to call them really, because like sometimes like I remember I was at a story during the elections like here last October, and someone comes up to me. And I guess, like, he heard me talking to someone. He just comes up to me, and he's like, you're that girl from Today FM. You do the news. And I was just like, yes, you know, like, how are you doing? And then he's like, you're a whole lot shorter than I thought you'd be. And I was like, oh.
What? Did that come across in my voice?
Yeah, I'm just like, so do I sound tall in my voice? I don't know. Like, do I sound like I'm a bigger person? I mean, sure, you know, but like literally in that moment I was just like, man, all 5'2" of me is very offended.
That's so weird.
And I was just like, oh no, but it was a really weird kind of like comment, I think. But and then one time and this was I can't remember when this actually happened, but like someone also came up to me and was just like, huh, like you're a lot cuter in real life than like you sound like on the radio. And I'm like, I don't know how to think like about this. Like I don't know how to feel about this, because like I'm not, do I sound ugly on the radio? Like what do I
guess they just assume that we're in radio, that like of course
because we don't have the face for anything.
Exactly.
I mean, okay,
exactly.
Fair
That's
enough.
like the meme.
That's fair enough. Yeah, I only have a face for radio. Like I have a face only a mother can laugh. What can I say?
It's okay. We're really all weird. In that boat.
Yeah, but no.
Do you ever get recognized like in grocery stores or something?
I'm not
like just like in the wild.
It happened actually when I was doing like car insurance things. Like,
really?
Yeah. They heard. Well, I was talking to my parents, and then I guess like they only recognized when I started speaking in English, because like I guess like your voice kind of like changes when you speak another language and stuff like that. And I was speaking to my parents in Tagalog, and then I like switched into English, and then the lady, like the insurance agent, like doing my paperwork was just like, oh, you're that girl who does news on the radio, aren't you? And I was just like, yes, like down the road.
Yeah.
And then she was like, oh, cool, yeah, we hear you like all the time. And I'm like,
no way.
Oh man, am I annoying?
That's so funny, because like when I was doing my insurance, like they had Today FM playing like in the background of like their place, and like the lady's like, I like was like, oh cool, like you listen to Today FM, and she's like, yeah, and I'm like I work there, and she's like, what do you do? I'm like, I'm on the radio, and she's just like, okay. And I'm like, that's most of my interactions with
that
people.
Hurts.
Like,
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, cool.
So you know the afternoon drive show that I host that.
Yeah, you know the thing that's like going on in like a half an hour, like that's this guy.
Me. Cool story.
Cool,
oh,
let's get this insurance done.
That sucks. I'm sorry.
It's pretty chill, because like when you're in public, there's not a whole lot of times where you'd prefer to be seen. Like usually when you're out, like you would rather, I don't know, it's like less pressure on you, essentially.
Yeah, that's very fair. And I think
there's some pretty irrational people out there, I'll tell you that.
Oh, for sure, yeah. and that's actually one of the reasons also why I was so, like, why I wanted so badly to be in radio was because there's a lot less pressure, you know, as obviously like a female reporter, there's a lot less pressure on you to look the part. But also, I guess, like you said, when you're out and about doing your errands, like out in the wild, not a lot of people recognize you unless you actually talk. And especially, again, with me, when I have the same voice on air and off air, it's easier, quote unquote, to like realize that, oh, that's that girl who does X, you know?
Exactly.
And so, but that rarely happens because it's not like I talk to a lot of people when I'm doing groceries or like when I'm, you know what I mean? Like when I'm walking or whatever, it's not like I make a point of like talking to strangers. So, but it only really happens, like, it's not very often that it happens, and it only happens when I'm actually talking. But yeah, because like if, say, I appeared on a TV screen, like people would be recognizing me. And like, you know, what if I'm having a bad day and I'm just wearing a really, really bad outfit, you know? Like,
or if you're like just like walking around like, and then you're like being all cute with like your significant other or something, and then it's like, oh, now like the listeners know.
Right, exactly. Like now the whole world knows.
People get like crazy about that sometimes. Like they will like file complaints. They'll like actually like bring it up in like your workplace, and that's like crazy. That's crazy. It's crazy, but stuff like that happens all the time.
Yeah, but it's also it's a lot less frightening to be a radio reporter sometimes too, especially if there are stories that are, I guess, causing a lot of stir in like in a community, and you're basically in the line of fire. But like, since people don't know what you look like, and as long as you don't, I guess, like, as long as you don't talk and they don't hear your voice, they won't recognize that you're that person who was, like, reporting that story or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but, and, like, you're just literally telling people about it. It's not like,
exactly.
Which is crazy, but.
Yeah, no, reporters get a lot of flack. And I get it, you know, like, there are, again, there are two sides to the story, and I get both sides, you know, and as a reporter, of course, I'm very much like, no, we do this with integrity, and we're just reporting on events as they are. So, like, there's that part as well. But, like, you know, it's just, I guess, what I'm trying to say is, like, radio is just, like, a whole lot safer than if I was, you know, like a VJ or, like, actually a TV presenter where, you know, people see me, and then I'm reporting on, like, a controversial thing, say, and then like you get attacked for it. You know? Like
here's what they look like on screen. Here's their name. Here's just like everything. It's just like, yikes.
And I saw them in this like silver sedan at some point, and you know, these are the plates, and it's just, like, it gets really crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
So radio all the way.
Let's hope we never get doxxed.
This is the takeaway from that, radio all the way.
Yeah, and speaking of radio and how it's a gorgeous day out, let's go enjoy the day. That's going to be it for this episode, but we'll catch you next week.
Bye.
This has been our ASMR podcast.
Thank you for listening.